horror movie fans, welcome to Cold and Trash Horror Movie Grind the Podcast. I am your host, Ian. This is the show in which we grind on the absolute worst horror and sci-fi movies we can find and make fun of just how bad they are, as well as praise the good cult classics that have been lost throughout time. Now get ready, because we're about to dive real deep inside of Hollywood's dumpster in search of the good, the so bad it's good, and the fucking ugly. Now put on your seatbelt, grab a beer or two, and enjoy the show. Yo, what up? Welcome back to Cold and Trash Horror Movie Grind. Coming back at you with another one. I'm Ian. And today we're doing actually a little bit bigger of a budget than we usually do. Usually we do like the really shitty, like shoestring budget movies that nobody really cares about. But this one's actually kind of a blockbuster. One of the very few we'll ever do on this. Why? Because it's so cheesy. It's like it's that nice. Well, it's not nice. It's that kind of cheese that has been sitting on your couch for like half a year, and you discover it, and then you're like, "Oh man, this is fucking rank." That's what movie we're covering today. Predator 2. I really enjoy this movie. It's actually, it might be blasphemic to say that it might be my favorite. I don't know. The first one, the original one, is like that. That's the good cheese. That's the cheese that aged like fine wine. That's the stuff that's like, that's some damn good cheese. With you got classic Schwarzenegger, you got puns, great. Then they take it out of the jungle, bring it into the concrete jungle. You got Danny Glover fresh out of Lethal Weapon. Gangs fighting in the street. It's definitely so bad it's good. And speaking of so bad it's good, I have my co-host from my old show, so movie So Bad They're Good. He's the host of also Who's Next Podcast. Seth, welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, man?
How's it going, dude?
It's been going good. It's been going good. It got me watching Predator 2.
Hell yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, I should thank you. I actually enjoyed it. So
Yeah?
definitely.
When was the last time you saw this?
Never did. I saw
really?
parts of it. I remember. I forgot where I was. But I remember having it on, and there was the beginning part where they were going through the building, but wherever I was at, I think I feel like I was up in Mississippi visiting with my wife's aunt and them, and
Okay.
they had a kind of a bad TV. It was hard to really make out what was going on in that. And I want to say that's the time I saw that one, and
It's just a movie.
I just barely got through that's it. That's it. But I just barely got through the beginning of it before I got distracted with something else. I never gave it the time till now.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I gotta say the beginning. This has such a fun opening. Just total chaos in the streets. Just Colombians versus cops, like shoving fistfuls of cocaine into their faces.
Yeah, down in Los Angeles, right? Supposedly, though, I thought I heard it was supposed to be New York, but I think,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think due to some budget constraints for it or something, they were trying to keep the budget basically the same as the first one. I think I read.
Apparently, they had a lot of trouble like getting this movie started.
They also had a lot of trouble filming it because they said that wherever they were at in Los Angeles, like what I read on some of the little IMDb facts is that literally people threw feces at
them. And that was in the alleyway where Danny Glover meets with what was his name? Keen Willie, I think is his name.
Yeah, something like that.
In that shitty ass alley. Yeah. We'll get a little bit more into that. Sure. So you enjoyed this movie?
Yes, I would say I did. I definitely did. And I do have some information about the comics that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Yeah, last time you were here for Tank Girl, you like really compared the two, which was amazing. So I'll definitely be looking forward to that. We have a couple other guests. They're actually from the same channel on Reviews from Hell, unlike this show where we review old cult classics and bad horror movies. They do the more recent movies. And actually, before we started doing this with one of them, AJ, we were talking, and he said he hated this movie. So we'll see what that's all about. AJ, welcome, and also Steve.
I love you for calling me out, buddy, being like the one that hates this.
just before I bring this guy out, like he's full of shit.
Yeah, I thought he was just gonna come out
totally,
like guns
totally.
blazing.
I should have been born with brown eyes, guy.
Well, yeah, welcome to the show. So yeah,
Thank you,
like I
thank you.
said,
Yeah.
you guys do like the recent movies that come out, right? That
Right, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It's just kind of we started kind of podcasting together. What 2-3 years ago?
2020, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
like late 2020 or something
Right.
around there. We had
Was
this
that on Infamous
podcast
Horror?
called.
Huh?
Was that on Infamous Horror?
No, that's
No,
Oh,
no, it
okay.
was
It
before.
kind of
Yeah,
brought me
before
in.
we did the YouTube channel. It was
Okay.
called.
Right. Yeah, AJ, you were on Infamous Horror before the rest of us joined, but
Yeah, 'cause I was on the
that.
website
You were
doing stuff,
like
yeah.
interviewing
Yeah.
people. That's
He
right.
kind of
Yeah.
brought me in, and it's it's fun. It's going well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
Um,
I did not know that he is that fucking crazy and does not like Predator 2 until the other day. So I haven't really processed it at all. I chose not to bring it up.
I think a lot of people don't really like it.
When
It's
I
like,
first watched this when I was younger, I didn't really enjoy it also because I just found it too campy or something was just off about it because of course
Oh,
it's
yeah.
supposed to be
It's
campy,
definitely
right? It's
off.
Predator 2. You know, it's supposed
Well,
to
I
have
think it's supposed to be really serious. Like I think it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I take it for
like that's
face
what I
value.
get from Glover's character, right? Like it's supposed to be serious.
He's
but
very
then-
serious.
Then
Yeah.
Bill's character is so campy and over the top and chewing every scene that he's goddamn in this. It's like they never could figure out where they wanted to go. At least in my opinion, I may be in like the 10% that think that way about Predator 2, but
Honestly,
For me-
as much as I would love to agree with that statistic, I think it's a little bit more. I think it's kind of like the kind of movie that you love or hate versus like the first Predator
Right,
everybody loves, and then there's the Predator, which everybody hates.
hates. Yeah.
That movie is not like
See, I
Predator
get
2
it,
is so
Frank.
bad it's good. The Predator is so bad it's a piece of shit.
Yes, my franchise rewatch when
Yeah.
Prey came out, I had just done this anyway, and I think they were mostly on Hulu. It was easy to do. The one that surprised me the most was how much, because I only saw it one time, and I'm a sucker sometimes for thinking things aren't bad because they're shiny and new, and so I only
That's
saw
a
the
big
Predator.
mistake to make.
Yeah, like the Predator came out, so
You
I'd
know, and
somehow
I think I
convince
did that same
myself-
mistake with Alien Covenant when it first came out, right? Like I absolutely hated it. Watched it a few years later again with an open mind. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like Covenant. Yeah.
No, Covenant's much better than the Predator. Much better, but the Predator is
Right,
a
right,
terrible
yeah.
film. Is all I'm trying to. That's the one takeaway
Yeah.
I had from rewatching all these movies was how shitty that Shane Black movie turned out to be. And it's just kind of surprising being Shane Black and all. It would say
Right,
on
Kiss
paper,
Kiss
it sounds
Bang
like
Bang
he
and
would
all
be
the other
doing
stuff he's
It,
done.
it,
Yeah.
it had potential. Like it could have been really badass.
Yeah.
Like it was so close to being fucking.
You can see all the
Amazing.
reshoots. Like it doesn't add up in
You
the
can
scenes
see
even
that,
as a
yeah.
movie. Like once it kind of takes off, it just falls apart.
Yeah.
Like it just.
And it was surprising with
falls apart.
Boyd Holbrook being in it too. Like he's a fantastic guy. You know, I'm not biased because I had to interview him for Infamous Horrors, but he's a really
But no,
shameless plug there.
Predator 2 though is where we want to keep our focus on. That's where my mind
Oh.
is right now. And anyway, yeah, I don't want to go too far down a Shane Black rabbit hole with the Predator on that
Yeah.
one because
I
I'll
mean,
completely.
we tend to go off the rails pretty,
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
often.
yeah.
on
I mean,
this
we
show,
do as
so,
well.
Yeah.
I try to live there.
Now, yeah, you did mention Prey, which is the reason why I wanted Seth on here because on his podcast, Who's Next, you reviewed that movie when it came out, and
Yeah.
that was a pretty cool discussion because you had like different points of view. Like you were kind of like iffy on it, and then your co-host
It's
was like, "No,
Prey.
this is amazing."
Prey is a good movie. I'll say that flat. I think it's definitely fits a lot of criteria. I didn't care for Prey because I felt like it did a similar female hero trope that I think gets a little tired with female action stars, and for better or for worse. Like maybe it's just a rut that gets in, but like the female that is looked over by all the men and she can't do any good, and then she's actually better than
that is a
everybody
tired
else
trope.
there, and that whole thing, like when it first started in the first 10 minutes I was like, oh, this is how this movie's going to unfold, and it did exactly how I thought it was going to unfold. And like when you look at something like Alien, she's just a member of the crew. She's with them, and she does end up being the one that survives and outlasts all of them, but it's not this whole like I've got something to prove and I'm gonna prove it kind of thing. It's more like no, I'm just the one who made this, and like she feels like a part of everybody. So that was the only thing to me
that's a good comparison.
Maybe there was a better way to handle that, but I think a lot of times with movies and stuff, especially if it's sci-fi. So me personally, if I'm dealing with sci-fi, I throw everything out the window in the sense of like when people have these discussions like, wow, a woman couldn't do that, or like that doesn't make sense for this. I'm like, well, it's sci-fi, it's a different world. It could be whatever it wants.
You gotta throw some logic out, right?
Yeah, and not even that, but when you're dealing with an alternate world where these things exist and stuff like that, potentially speaking, like you can kind of make it whatever you want to. So like with sci-fi in general. Now, if you're doing more of a dramatic, realistic take, then maybe there is an argument to be made like, well, can this 90-pound woman fist fight a 200-pound man? I don't know if that would actually work in a realistic type of like movie that's like fitting those settings of like what's real in our world today. You know what I mean? Right. But in sci-fi, it's kind of have fun with it. That's my viewpoint. Yeah. But the trope of the woman who has to overcome and everybody looks down on her, but she's actually better than everybody in the sense like. And look, we had
for like no reason either. They gave her a 10-minute, like a 1-minute long montage of her training. Yeah. So yeah, she's good.
Yeah. So I mean,
I just want to say this, backtracking off you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of like the 90s and 2000s early rom-coms, when all these ugly girls in school would just take off their glasses.
Oh right? yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah. I actually did like, but just to say, I did actually like the actress per se, and I think that
she was great.
I don't know, just for me, I think it could have been handled in a way where it didn't feel as tropey, and I think but like other than that, like the other parts of the movie, Prey, were great. Like I didn't, it's not a bad movie at all, and so like
I think in terms of just like a directed film, it's got to be that, and McTiernan's is just what the best made film is in all of them. I don't think many of them are, I mean, Predator 2 is a hoot and a holler, but I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's kind of a mess. That's part of it.
It's clearly, I mean,
it's a mess, but it's like a train wreck. Like you want to keep watching it.
The best thing about it is its budget.
Yeah. You've never seen Predator 2 made today.
Which usually makes a shitty movie. Like a bad, just like straight bad movie. But I mean, this one has like a lot of like, I don't know. It's weird. If I compare it to other movies that came out around the same time, that is also big budget cash grab. I'm just like, this is terrible. I don't like this. But this one, I don't know. Well, I just love it. It's just, I mean, you have just Danny Glover just being fucking Murtaugh.
And that's what I loved about it. Like that's like one of the highlights of it.
Yeah, it's like
and I love
that universe into Predator 2. It's like he is fucking Murtaugh. It's not as if he's playing a Murtaugh-like character. It's as if Murtaugh rolled the fuck out of bed and went to work the next day after.
Exactly.
And they did the same thing with Carl Weathers in Action Jackson. He was basically the same thing, right?
Yeah. Well, I would say it's almost Murtaugh and Riggs is one person. Like
Yeah.
there's
Right,
that
yeah.
attitude and that anger and that
Yeah.
don't give a
Yeah,
fuck
the anger
type
for
shit.
sure. Yeah, because
Like
he's like
mixed
getting
in
in
with-
fights with his superiors.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
was a mix of
It is
both those
He just
characters.
goes up to him.
It's like just one
Yeah.
I
person.
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
He's getting so many punches.
And to top it all off, he has a pistol with a scope on it, which is just like
Yeah, I was just thinking about that ridiculous fucking gun. We talk about some of these action movies where people want to talk about when it crosses these weird ethical lines when you have like arms dealers and the military trying to show off like their new firepower, and so they put it all in James Cameron's T2 and stuff like that. And then I think about this fucking gun in Predator 2. Like I don't think about Cobra really. I don't think about any of that stuff. I think about Danny Glover's ridiculous police issue. Dude's just
Police issued, right?
And
And
it's
he's
so
still
like
good.
huge and shiny, and he's
yeah,
just like
and he's still kind of just like Kolchak. He's got that like kind of Kolchak little straw hat on and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
But he has a trunk that just came from the Supernatural TV show where you
Yeah.
pop open the back and it's just full
Yes.
of guns.
yes,
yeah.
Hey, don't
Uh,
diss on my Supernatural TV show now, damn it.
Hey, look, I don't hate Supernatural, but those trunks look pretty similar. He was just
But-
missing some witchcraft spells and some salt and some shit in there, and that would have been the same trunk.
it's like a holy kit right up there.
But to go back to what Seth you were saying about Prey having that trope with the female girl protagonist, and like she's weak and nobody respects her, and like they're all like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do it, and then she proves everybody wrong. This is the complete opposite, where Danny Glover just completely defeats the Predator for just fuck it. Because,
Just by brute force, just by his
It's
own.
almost
because
like
who
confident
gives a shit?
masculinity is what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
what
like
he did was interesting because it's what I do playing shooter games, where it's like, oh, there's a battle I won't win with this pistol, but I'm not gonna go look for a gun. I'm just gonna go in with the pistol. He
yeah,
goes to
that's
the
exactly
Predator,
like it's so
he
pointless.
has the saw
Barrel
blade
through.
only, and instead of
Yeah.
stopping to maybe find some other weapons and shit, he's like, no, I'm just gonna go on the alien spaceship with the saw blade, and we're gonna
It's so
do this.
dope.
yeah. No, he's ready to go too. He gives no fucks. Yeah,
And like all the other ones gather around him, and it's like, who's next?
here. Yeah, he's like, let's go.
and
Here,
he
have a
drops the
weapon.
blade.
All right, guys, I'm reloaded. Who wants to go next?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's just like the entire reason is who cares? Like that's how he defeats them, and then they're like, you know what? Like we hated that guy. That's why we sent him here. Like,
Yeah.
good for you. Here's an artifact that you'll see in the latest
yeah.
movie, Prey. Back again.
Are you sure? I don't think that's accurate.
The gun?
Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong, so you can correct me on this one. But there was actually a comic that was
I
released.
did hear about that.
And that directly references this gun. It was a pirate. His name was like Raphael, whatever the name was on the gun, Raphael something. And there's a short story in it's a Dark Horse Comics. They got multiple stories from different things, not just Predator, but other like properties. And one of them is this short story. And it's a pirate who has that gun, and they steal some treasure, but he's conflicted by they stole it from like a religious place. And he's like, you know what, we need to give this back. We killed a priest over this. And his crew is like mutinous against him, like, no, this is our treasure. Fuck you. So then they attack him, and he shoots like, I think he shoots two of them, grabs the treasure and runs with it. And the crew is starting to chase him on the island. The Predator that we see in 2 at the end here in the ship, he sees that. And he's like, that's the guy I'm gonna fight. So then he goes to go fight him, but the crew is still chasing behind him. And when the crew catches up to the pirate, Raphael, and the Predator, they both are like, well, we could do this fight, but we got to kill them first. So they team up and murder their whole crew, the pirate and the Predator, and take them all out. And then they turn and like, okay, now we're going to fight. So they go to fight, but one of the crew hid and shoots Raphael in the back. Raphael falls, and the Predator's like, man, you just took this. We were supposed to fight. So he fucking kills him. And when he goes back to Raphael, Raphael's like, the same line that he says in Predator 2. He says, "Take it," I think it is, right?
Yeah.
That's what he tells the Predator. Take it.
Oh, so that's why
Yes.
because like he's not just saying take
Like a
it.
full
What they do
circle.
is they like
Yeah, they
So they
recorded
were
it.
making that canon,
They
so to
recorded
speak.
it. So he says,
Yeah.
"Take it," and gives
Nice.
him the gun. The Predator takes the gun, and then at the end, he takes his spear out of respect for the pirate guy, and he sticks it on the grave where the pirate guy, he buries the pirate guy and all that, and he says, "Take it," and leaves a spear there for the pirate guy, and the Predator guy leaves. So then in this moment, he's saying the same thing where he's showing Danny Glover's character respect, saying, "Take it," and giving him the gun for what he did killing the Predator. Now, to me, this is a pirate's gun. I don't know how it gets from the Native American place because she had that gun at the end of Prey. I don't know how that gets onto a pirate who's stealing gold from like
I'm thinking that in Prey they just said that's a cool idea. Let's fuck the entire comic and just have the gun. That's what I'm thinking they
It
did.
could be, but
It's just
originally it was
overriding that. But I have always heard people do love those old Dark Horse Predator comics. The people do really remember.
I haven't read
I've never
Predator,
read-
but I did read Terminator, and it is awesome.
Oh yeah, I've never read any of that stuff, but everybody always swears by most of that stuff from that era.
It's a
Dark
short
Horse.
story in the comics. It's not a full comic like
Right.
series or anything. It's a short story that tackles
One shot.
what happened with that gun.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
technically speaking, according to that, it's not. But if the movies are trying to say there, then you're right. They could just be rewriting this short story that actually addressed it.
Yeah.
Because they initially, my understanding, what happened was they initially put it in the movie because the next movie they were planning to go back and explore something like how Prey did, explore like previous hunts,
Right.
but it never really came to fruition.
That would be pretty cool.
We
The
know
next
the
movie we
Predator
ended
at
up
the end
getting-
was supposed to be Dutch. At the end, when it says that cameo, that's a terrible reveal at the end. They were trying to start this kind of MCU-like moment where at the end they said this is the Predator killer, and it opened up and it was Dutch, and it didn't work out. But if you see how the scene's built, like that makes way more sense than when you originally pictured opening it up and it being Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just the dialogue, because it's lame, because it's like they didn't fucking change anything else out of the whole scene, you know. So once you know that, it feels so out of place that it's just like, okay, it's some weird suit thing.
Well, there's a few differences there too, because originally I heard that they were trying to have Arnold Schwarzenegger come in instead of Danny. Like originally they were pitching it for him to be the star of the movie, right?
See, that's different from what I heard too.
Yeah,
yeah, I've heard that. Originally they wanted him.
What I heard that was supposed to be Busey's character was actually Dutch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he shows up and he's like, I fought this
Terminator 2 at that time though. Wouldn't it have been
Yeah,
like
I
he was
believe
like
so.
doing?
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, what I read was apparently the discrepancy was they didn't want to pay Arnold an extra $250,000 to his whatever contract he was willing to sign to to reprise the role.
Right.
So they shifted and went to Danny Glover because they what I read is they based it off a comic. One of the comics I read over is Concrete Jungle, Predator Concrete Jungle. And in that one, it initially was Dutch, but then in the comic, they backtracked and were like, no, this is Dutch's brother. So the main comic originally is Dutch's brother.
It's always the brother.
Yeah. His brother, and the brother looks close to him, and he's a cop in New York. So he's a cop in New York City, which originally this movie was supposed to be in New York City, and they pivoted to Los Angeles, I think, for budgets. So it was supposed to be him, and he had a partner called Race something. I can pull it up in a minute, but he has a partner. No, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And yeah, it would be awesome. But so again, there's in New York, there's all these drug dealer stuff, big problem. And like the Predator gets involved, very similar to how this movie starts, right?
Right.
Well, the differences are that when he starts fighting the Predator, he runs into, instead of Keys, it's General Phillip from the first movie in the comic. Okay. He comes in and it's like, look, don't worry about this. This is our thing, whatever. Like, and he wants to know what's going on, and he ends up finding out about where his brother was at last seen. So in the comic, his brother goes back to the jungle where the last fight in the first movie happened. And you see the crater that the explosion made in the first movie. He revisits it in the comic and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, in one of the battles he had in New York before he went to the jungles, he knocked off one of the Predator's helmet pieces. His partner has the helmet, decides, let me put it on for whatever reason, and he sees that New York is surrounded by Predator spaceships.
Oh shit!
So yeah, it's like a
Man,
big,
that's
like,
badass.
holy
That
shit.
would be really cool.
Yeah, that was like a holy shit moment in like
Yeah, Hollywood always like they're like, we have this great idea, and instead of
do we
doing that,
mess it
let's
up?
do this terrible idea.
Let's do this
Well,
other thing.
well,
Let's tease the
dude.
good idea.
Well, no. Look, like, how do you budget that? If your
No,
budget
it's
That
is
is
idea,
true.
this,
Like,
how are you going to do all those ships? Like,
That's
honestly,
unless it's like an
smart.
animated film, right?
I mean, they could
There's,
do
like,
that
no way
today.
you can do it.
They could have done that for the Predator.
yeah, I mean, they could have done it now.
I mean, they have a kid put
something.
on the mask.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
movie.
that's goofy. You know what that reminds me of with that kid with the Predator helmet on? It always looks terrible to me. It's the same thing as in Rob Zombie's Halloween, where the kid has the Michael Myers mask on. It just looks dumb. It looks goofy. It looks silly to me.
Yeah.
Got these like 8-year-old kids. Well, it just I don't understand what like
It
just
doesn't do
obviously
anything,
looks
right? Yeah.
bad.
So
Yeah.
suffice to say, the comic basically ends in an all-out world war against the Predators and like the drug. I think some of the drug dealers and the cops, and then even the army gets involved and helps with fighting the Predators off in New. So you basically get the Avengers at the end of the comic of the Battle of New York, but it's the Predators instead of the whatever alien race it was in the Avengers.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But that's how the comic went. So they took some things like that train sequence in the movie was in the comic.
Okay,
so they did take certain things like that, but they did.
And the train sequence was probably one of the better sequences in the films too, I think.
It's a movie that like the screenplay is like the last thing that matters though, right? It's like we're just doing a variation of the first one here. It's like shake and bake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the idea is everything. It's like you said, it's concrete jungle. That's all you need to know. So we got to come up with a few cool set pieces. You know what I mean? So you got like the drug dealer's apartment where everybody kills each other after the opening. You got the train. You know what I mean? So that's what I think of when I think of these series of set pieces that just, are balls to the wall. Like that scene with the sacrifice and everything with the drug dealer near the beginning, like the second one in the apartment where all the girl and the guy are like having sex and all the people come in and tie him up. They're like the Jamaicans and the Predator.
And that was really bonkers too.
They've got those gold fucking like AK-47s and shit. I mean, it's crazy.
And they're doing like voodoo spells, and then they start like making fun of him. Like we're just fucking around. Like,
just bad people doing bad shit.
But like that's what I like most about this movie is like it starts out like how the first Predator, it starts out like a war movie, and then you just have like all these guys like just big muscles and guns and just doing like they run in, they're shooting people. Arnold throws a great fucking line, a one-liner, stick around, and this does the same thing. It starts out with cops fighting drug dealers, and that's and like just pure action. Cars are blowing up. Like this is back when I think action movies were the best, where it's just hokey as hell, and you just have explosions everywhere.
The cocaine era,
and it plays on everything,
pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it plays on like I feel like it plays on everything, like of the time, like cheesy, like not cheesy, sleazy media shit at the time. They're like, well, throw in more black people with crazy guns doing cocaine. Come on, they're like, throw in more cops shooting at people. Come on,
it's like there's a war between Colombians and Jamaicans. Which makes no sense because this is again in LA. Why do we have Colombians and Jamaicans fighting over terrorism? And it's just like none of this makes sense, but I'm just here for it, and it's just fun. You can turn your brain off, and you can just be like, I mean, later on in like the 2000s, and so action movies, I think that they did like a similar thing, but it wasn't like the same like heart or like soul of it. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but like I think they nailed it in Predator 2. AJ, So you
believe you
just
like
don't like
this
it at
movie.
all.
Yeah.
I
Blows my
mean,
mind.
I didn't like it. Maybe I didn't hate it. Maybe I was being too rough on it when I watched it. But the first act, it started out decent, right? Then to me, the
Basic.
second act was kind of like a mess in between. Hold on, damn it! Wait, I'm
Sorry, that's my fault. I apologize. Sorry.
I don't
Well,
know, there
what
was
do you mean by
something-
that? Like, I'm just trying to
Well,
Well,
understand.
to me, it never knew what it wanted to be like after the first 10 minutes.
That's probably kind of true.
I don't know. I mean,
And like Glover's character and Bill's character were just two contrasts of each other, what the movie wanted to be. And like
Yeah.
when they were off screen, it kind of worked, but when they were in the same scene together, to me, it did not kind of work at all, if that makes sense.
well, they
Yeah,
weren't-
no, I get that.
I don't think people
yeah,
were
it-
happy with the Danny Glover thing. I don't know that much about this, but I can't imagine hearing that, oh, hey, things have shifted. You know that movie that you're working on? Like, things have shifted. It's not Arnold anymore. Oh, who are we getting? Like, Danny Glover. What? Are you fucking
Right.
you know, like I can't imagine that people were stoked. You know what I mean? He just doesn't exactly
It's so random. Yeah.
it is. It's like they
I
just
mean,
reached
the only
a
thing I can
happy
think of is that
medium.
Lethal Weapon was really popular at the time.
Yeah,
so.
that probably
Right.
what led to some of that. And it's funny, speaking to your point about the movie not knowing what it wants to be. I mean, y'all just went on about a lot of the action points and it being this action movie, but I would say too that this is probably the most horror type movie out of the whole
Very.
franchise.
No, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that really dug down in a lot of horror elements that come across that way that a lot of the other movies don't necessarily. They're more like even the first movie is more actiony.
Oh
Like
yeah.
this one,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
had more moments of horror where like they were like one of the detectives who gets grabbed and killed and the blood spurts on the floor. Like those are typical
Yeah.
like horror
Yeah.
scenes that you see in a movie. The bodies,
oh,
you
yeah,
walk
that's
in the
true.
room and body skinned and hanging. Like that's a horror moment there. That you
Yeah,
see.
and there's the like, you want some candy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The King Willie's scene is played like a slasher. The whole subway scene is played
Yeah.
up for fear.
That-
and
I gotta
That
say-
was probably my favorite part of the whole movie was just that sequence.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's great.
the kid Willie, he like, I love that. He like
I do too.
he sees him, he takes a sword out of his cane, and he's like, I'm ready.
He's
And
like,
then you don't even see it. It just transitions to like him screaming in his face, and then it's a close up, and it goes away, and then you just see him like carrying his head. That was so dope.
And that's very classic horror movie shit
Yeah.
right there. That
Right,
is,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and but like, what's fun about it is it's like it starts out with he's in this meeting, so he gets in a limo with zebra stripe like cover with a bunch of Jamaicans, but like
they're all
you want some
blazing
ganja,
hot.
man, and it's so racist.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so racist. It's
And then
the
they
whole
take him to,
Predator
like,
is problematic
A
as fuck.
dank alley, just like he's not in a club, he's not in
It's
like,
just in a back
you were-
alley.
it's just an alley. And then that's the part, Seth, that you were talking about, where like the people who lived in those like apartments or whatever were like throwing shit at them, and they were like rats. They apparently found a
Right.
dead body in that alley.
Yeah, I heard they found a body in it.
Damn.
What?
But
Yeah,
what I
location.
like about that is that it's like, I mean, it's more of
Now
like
that should be a Netflix documentary.
right. It's more of that concrete jungle thing. It gives you the idea that they're still in the jungle. It's just a different type. And instead of like like Scarface or whatever, that's always in a club or this mansion or something. And so any other movie, he would have met him somewhere else.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it's just this dank alley and I think that's actually really cool. That's it's unique. I've never seen another movie that did that.
And no, it's a perfect way to keep a franchise like this going. Like, I mean, I really think that if you look at like the Alien franchise as a whole, like it's kind of like they accidentally struck lightning twice, and nobody could have ever known James Cameron was going to do that with that first movie, you know? So there's only
especially after he got fired from Piranha too.
Sure. And I mean, they're right. There's only a few things that you can do with a franchise. And it's like everybody always, you think about changing up the setting. And I think if you look at the other movies, whether it's Predators, whether it's Prey, they hew too closely to the first one in a lot of ways. Like it's like they kind of keep recreating the wrong thing, or maybe taking the wrong chance. When the second one maybe got the, you know what I'm saying? Like the second one were this idea that, well, you know, there are other types of jungles where we could put this elite hunter in and he could have a field day and have a challenge. I think that is more what I would want to see from it. Like if I was going to go back and watch another one of these, because I know that Prey is a different setting. It's Native American. It's not the South American jungle, but it still kind of hews closely to that. So you know,
it's almost the same.
And it's same with Predators too.
Same Predators is so close. The callbacks make it so close.
Yeah, it's interesting that they decided to do that on the second movie. Which kind of makes no sense, but I love it. Like that's
ballsy.
Awesome.
It's a bold jump to do that with Predators too, as well.
It's
it
like,
kind of set a standard.
Let's make it the same but different.
Yeah, it's like pirates. Let's do one with pirates. You know what I mean? Let's put him back in like feudal Japan. Let's put the Predator back. Let's
that would be cool.
I
think we'll definitely get into that later on when we get into the prompts.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can come up with ideas all day. Why the fuck do they keep going back to the same shit?
It's like they're making this so hard when it's like nobody just come on, dude. It's so simple.
I got a great idea for.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that.
Memorize, buddy.
So, is there any part of this movie, Seth or Steve, that you did not like?
I don't know if there's a part per se, but I do feel like this movie could have been shorter. I was kind of surprised that we weren't getting to the end sooner. Like especially like I was surprised how long that fight was between Danny Glover and the Predator. Like it did stretch from that meat packing factory, whatever, to then in the apartment building. Then they fell down into where the spaceship was, and I was like, "Whoa!"
I think that was cool that they kept changing location. My thing was before that, where it showed all the guys who realized, oh, you can only see heat, so they did that whole thing. And it was just like a 20-minute segment just for us to find out that he could change his vision.
Also, I get that they were making that point about the heat because I think in the comics too, they make a comment, which I didn't really ever put together. Maybe their race or something like that needs the heat, right? So like, but it did bother me that every time we seen our characters, they were sweaty as fuck.
My gosh!
That's what they say. Is it's like there's a heat wave. We have both a heat wave and a crime wave at the same time,
and the AC doesn't work.
Hot, buddy.
Oh my god! I could not go into work in that place, man. I think about that every time I watch that movie. How hot!
Yeah, those actors were just. It looked like they hosed them down before every scene, and then they're
like, "I don't know what."
Michael Mann used to hose down the streets and shit, like making stuff like what's that movie, Thief, to get that look. So I bet they did hose them down in between takes.
Bro, they did something because they were.
I think that's actually a really good addition because it's like do the right thing.
Yeah.
Where throughout the movie, it's like there's this heat wave and the heat just makes people crazy.
It's a different character,
and so because it's so hot, everybody's going crazy and they lose their mind and they're taking out on each other, and then that's why we see it starts out with this huge fight between the cops and the Colombians, and then you have Jamaicans. It's like the heat just adds to that.
Bring it up a Spike Lee joint.
Like, I like good movies too.
Whoa, this is a new revolution here, folks.
I guess not. I'm just gonna add like the only thing I can think of Predator 2 that like I really don't like is like it starts with that high octane start, and then I saw this very young. And it did scare me.
You don't like
it.
I was in high school when I first saw it, so I was like,
oh no, I was little. I was like 7 years old. It was probably like 1992. Whenever it was like new on rental, like I remember getting it as a little kid, and it scared me really bad. I didn't even get like watching it later. I remember like, oh, drugs! They're doing drugs. Like I didn't get the white powder.
And that goes back to what Seth was saying. It's
scary.
More
it
of that
scared
horror.
The shit out of me. Yeah. And so, but what I don't like though is once we get to that end with the long drawn out fight and stuff, like it's the same thing with a lot of movies like that where you have these two kind of big things bashing the shit out of each other at the end. My eyes always glaze over, and I'm like, oh shit, it's over. And so, but after the subway part, when it picks up to that big 20-minute long fight, I lose interest. Like it really does. The movie kind of dies for me.
I think we could probably all agree that it really goes downhill after the subway.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. And then it could just go to like getting leverage, just like, oh, you son of a bitch, and starts fighting him. However, I do like we did mention this earlier that it's hilarious of how like he's like, oh, he can see your flashlights, and everybody doesn't listen to him. So he just runs in, and he's like, and isn't it me? You want me? Here I am. First of all, he didn't really want you. Like,
no,
he but like, he'll take you for sure.
I mean, like the Predator went out of his way not to kill him for who knows why. And second of all,
once, right? I mean,
and second of all, he already killed the entire group of people. So he ran in there for like the reason why he ran in there is to save them, but like they were already dead by the time he got there. Already and then dead. He's like like the first Predator is, we understand that like he defeats them because he like hides his body temperature in the mud, and so that makes sense. And this one, it's just like sense. It makes no sense, but it's just like I'm just laughing at it. It's almost like a comedy in a way.
There's no logic at play at all. It's just like, well, the script says I run in here, even though these two
like this is almost like Superbad in a way, you know. Just like they just do shit, and it's just like, you know, like movies like that, or like you know, like 21 Jump Street, where they just do shit just for laughs. I feel like I feel like this is like that, but ironic. Like they're not trying to make us laugh.
If you do it in that way, I think I would have had more fun with
it. What do you mean? Exactly.
No, like how you described it as just like, you know, it being ironic to.
Oh, if it was just a straight comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Predator with a laugh track.
That actually, we should just like watch this movie over again, just add a laugh track and see how it would probably be so fucking funny.
Because the other people laughing tells me where I should laugh.
But like, I mean, I love how the guy at the beginning of Scorpio, he just like he shoves cocaine in his face and he's like, Scorpio's ready. And his name is Scorpio too. Like, how dumb of a name.
I think also the Spanish cop, she like all her lines felt really bad, like really badly delivered. Like that could be a laugh track every time that she says
that dialogue was rough.
Yeah, it was.
How many times would Bill Paxton have HR called on him in that movie?
Yeah.
Dude, in today's culture, dude,
Bill Paxton in that movie, man. Only guy to ever get killed by a Predator and a Xenomorph. That is cool.
Not true. Not true.
But Paxton is a legend.
He was the only guy up until I don't remember the actor's name, but he's in Terminator. He's in he's in Aliens and Bishop from Aliens.
Lance Henriksen, yeah.
And in Alien versus Predator Requiem, he gets killed.
That guy.
By, I think a Predator. So he also has been killed by all three.
That's fucking crazy.
That guy from that thing he did that one time.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Lance. Yeah.
Well, you know who I'm talking about.
The Millennium guy. The Millennium. That was a good show. So there's been two people who've been killed. Pumpkinhead. He's also in Pumpkinhead. He's in all kinds of shit. Yeah, he's the guy in Pumpkinhead too. Yeah. Pumpkinhead 1. Pumpkinhead also. Not Pumpkin. Never mind.
Yeah. You know, he was originally supposed to be the Terminator.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah. I think that would have been pretty cool. It wouldn't have been nearly as awesome, but it would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that would work.
The Terminator.
I like guys like him, like Harry Dean Stanton, like Dick Miller, just like old characters.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are the dudes, man. I think all those guys are dead now, but you know. Lance Henderson's not dead. He's still there. He's still out there working.
Is he? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, did you just reveal something?
No.
Did he?
No.
He's not in your basement, is he, Steve?
He's doing fine.
Down there.
I thought you were about to say like some movie. That
Like, hey, buddy, look who I found.
Now, AJ,
yeah, what's up?
we're like getting. Actually, to be honest, we're not getting up on you nearly as much as I thought we would.
I know,
or should. But however, I mean, like everything you're saying, I agree. Like it's a bad movie. We find it fun though. Like we understand that.
Right, yeah. Like,
what? I mean, you said that like when you were younger, you didn't like it. So do you think that it's like an anti-nostalgia thing?
That probably played a huge part in my second viewing because I probably didn't keep an open mind on this viewing. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm just
I think AJ just had a bad experience with a Jamaican. And he was just like, fuck this movie, man.
Seth, I told you that in confidence, man.
Gave me some gummies.
Gang wars.
This Jamaican gave me some gummies, and I freaked the fuck out, man. I don't mess with Jamaicans anymore.
There's one gypsy.
But like, what about everywhere? Like? Was there no point where you watched this and were like, man, that's dope? Like he goes onto the Predator ship and fights them in his home.
Yeah,
and the Predator ship looked cool too. It was like these weird, crazy hallways with the fuck, and then you see all these has the xenomorph, by the way.
Nowadays that would just be CGI. Like the actors would be in a green screen room. Like Danny Glover was fucking walking around on that shit. Like fighting. That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
And then after that, he just goes back to Lethal Weapon, and it's just like nothing happened.
Like nothing fucking happened, man. He's, they were going to do another one. Who knows? They're still claiming they're doing
it's like a prequel to Lethal Weapon, I'd say. This was before
because at no point did he say it was too.
Yeah, now I can see that working. Like if this was like a prequel to Lethal Weapon, now
he just has to go. Like imagine that he goes through all this shit, and he's just like he sees that there's first of all life outside of us. So for a lot of people, that would be just a huge event that would just blow your mind, and you want to like live your life the rest of the same way. Nice. Not only that, but he defeated that.
Not only that, but you got the respect of the Predator alien race. They're like, take it. Here's this.
And then they drop him off, and he goes back to work the next day, and he has to deal with a suicidal like maniac.
Yeah.
The very next day. Yeah. That's just a Tuesday.
Like I too would be like, man, I'm too old for this shit.
Now we know why he's too old for this shit. We know. We're like, you deserve a nice retirement on a boat.
100%.
Yeah, like everybody's just like, who cares? Just go back to your work and your family.
When they do they'll do a new Lethal Weapon, and then in that one, the Predator returns. And
he's like, I told you.
That's what we need.
I remember this shit, Riggs. I'm too old for this shit.
Mimic it back to him.
But so I can see it pretty clearly now. Yeah, so he leaves that. He goes home. He gets in the bathtub. He's like trying to unwind. He's trying to figure out what the fuck just happened.
Little saxophone solo.
And then his family comes in. Happy birthday!
His wife, not his mom. It's his wife. It'd be weird.
And kids. And he's just like, what?
Yeah. He's like, I'm too. And then the Predator just kind of breaks through the wall, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in Predator 2, kind of a callback.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you, this is how we start the new Lethal Weapon 5 is he wakes up and all his family is skinned alive hanging in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
And that starts.
That's perfect.
Yep. That starts the movie. I'll sign up. You'll have my money.
So you remember all that character development of his daughter and his wife throughout the first 4 movies?
Hidden alive, hanging in the kitchen.
Good. Yeah. Wow.
Well, actually, no. You know what? He's already dead because he died in Saw. That's the last one.
That's a multiverse. That's it. We're not connecting that here. No.
Predator, no way home.
I don't want to see Jigsaw versus Predator. That would just be I don't care.
I don't know, man. I think
So
Predator was
somehow
play a
Jigsaw locks the Predator in a room. I want to play a game. And he's just like, fuck this shit. Just blows up
Predator
the
would be,
wall and just
you
leaves.
never know. I mean, Predator, he
over.
might say, you want to play a game, and Predator might be like,
Yeah.
I'll play it.
Yes, I
what
do
I
want to
do.
play a game.
I play
That's
games.
fine. I do.
Yeah, let's play.
No, the question is, do you
Never
want to
asked.
play a game?
Kind of like Battleship with Death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great.
So, Seth, you brought up the comics earlier. Was there any other things that you wanted to bring up about that? Any other
No, I
comparisons?
kind of really went through it all. I mean, they did do, they did actually do a remake. They did a retelling of the Predator 2 movie in the comics, but I think they cut out a lot of, if I remember right, Bill Paxton's character. They cut down a lot of his stuff. He was still in it, I believe, but not as like prominent. But they did do a retelling of it with like Danny Glover's character and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So that there was that, but it followed the movie basically almost point on. Like it's very much the movie. The more interesting thing is what the movie got inspired from, which was Concrete Jungle. Well, there's one other thing I'll say then. There's a video game, a Predator video game, also called Concrete Jungle.
Oh, really?
But it's not this movie or the comic Concrete Jungle at all. It's a very different take of the Predator comes down, and I think it's like in the 1930s.
No shit.
And
Oh, that's interesting.
he comes down and gets in a fight with like some Irish mobster or something like that. His wife shoots the Predator's eye out in some kind of altercation, and the Predator like leaves. And I'm trying to remember exactly how it went in the game, but you end up leaving, and the bomb that he set up to kill himself, in some form or fashion, for some reason he didn't die. Some reason, right? So what ends up happening is the Predators are disappointed, like, oh, you failed, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. They send him off on this planet for like a punishment type thing, and he's there for like 100 years. In that time, in 100 years, he finds a way off that planet, and so the game takes place where you go back to Earth to correct what you did, because what happened was when he left planet Earth, he left some gear there. So then humanity advanced with new technology.
Oh, nice.
So the game takes place in a very advanced Earth where everybody has like advanced weaponry and stuff. And now he is having to go and take down this more advanced Earth and stuff as a way to prove himself to the Predators. So, and there was a game called it was called Concrete Jungle in the name of the comic, but it's and you take control of the Predator. You play as the Predator in the game.
Very cool.
And you can like execute people. I want to say it was like PS2. I want to say.
Okay, that makes sense, because PS2 was doing a lot of things based on movies around that time.
There was an Alien versus Predator game I played on PS2. It was
I believe so too.
And they also had a song, a video game.
It was kind of like StarCraft in a way. It was just a ripoff of StarCraft, which funny enough is a ripoff of Alien versus Predator.
Yeah. Well, this one is actually, it's a third person. It's kind of almost like GTA-ish or whatever. You can run around the world, and like you can like drag people and flay them and hang them.
That sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
You can see infrared. You have his gear. You can go camo and like just fuck people up.
Actually, that sounds familiar. I might have played that.
Definitely never played that game.
Yeah, I never have, but when I was looking up some stuff, Concrete Jungle was the comic, but then I was like, oh, there's a game of the same name.
Yeah, you know what? I did play that. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what. I didn't remember anything until you said that you could play as a Predator and like hang people up, and you could change your vision too.
Yeah, I saw that. I was watching some gameplay of it, and it looked interesting. It kind of reminded me of you remember the Punisher game for the PS2, where you can like that was a pretty cool one, where you play as the Punisher and you kind of do these missions where you can go in and like you can like take people and you can torture them for information, and then you can either let them go or just fucking kill them like Punisher does. And you can torture them, and like you can stick their face in where there's like piranhas in a pond and eat it off, or like you can, whatever. And it was violent as shit. It was an M-rated game.
Yeah.
It was Punisher, but he ran into Iron Man in the game, and he ran into like other Marvel characters in the game. You do a mission with fuck, why am I slipping on his name right? Nick Fury. Is the white Nick Fury in the game, but it's Nick Fury, and you do like a mission with him. I think you do a mission with Black Widow as well in the game too, and then there's some interaction you have with Iron Man in the game. It was a really interesting. I played that one. That was for PS2 as well, and it was a very interesting game. But it kind of seemed similar in some aspects with this Predator game, where you can like grab people and torture them, do whatever, but there's different. There's different mechanics behind it for the reasons why you do it, of course. Punisher, there's more this heroic bend, and you're the Predator, you just fucking people up.
Just fucking people up for sport.
Yeah. So, but that's the only other thing I would say. I mean, I went over the comic, basically the differences between that and the movie. We've kind of.
I'm gonna read that now. Thank you, because I knew that there was some Dark Horse stuff that people really like, but I have never.
Yeah.
Like that.
There's an omnibus of all the Predator, because there's sequels actually to the comic. There's one called Cold War, and there's another one where it's the same character from Concrete Jungle. It's Dutch's brother, and they've done like multiple sequels of that comic story.
Nice.
I didn't really look into those as much, so I'm not sure where they go with that. But there are some more stuff in that.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I've never read that, but I did read the first couple of issues of the Terminator one on Dark Horse, and that is like it's so badass. Like I'd say, it's better than the movie Terminator 2.
No
like,
shit.
This is. I mean, the idea, at least. I mean, they had ideas that were like never used in the films. Which
crazy, right?
It's just of course. Like imagine this. So like. Terminator comic is Terminator. It's the Terminator 2 before they made the movie.
Right. Oh, I'd love to read that.
87 or something.
Yeah.
And so the idea is Sarah Connor is still on the run. She's just like, I think she's pregnant still. And she's just trying to survive basically. And meanwhile, in the future, there's something like 5 rebel guys who they go back in time to pretty much protect her, to like give her assistance, but then there's 3 Terminators that also go back. But before they do, they grab one of the rebel guys, they rip his stomach open or cut his stomach open, put a bunch of future guns inside of his body, sew him back up, take him to the past with them, rip him back up, and take the gun. So now we have 5 humans versus 3 Terminators with guns.
Nice.
And and then the Terminators are trying to find Sarah Connor, and then they're pretty much they fight.
That sounds sick, man.
Yeah, it's so badass.
Yeah, comics can go weird places, and they're pretty cool. I do definitely reading, sequels, adaptations can be kind of dry because it's the same story. Like it looks like there's a straight adaptation of the movie that's very much just the same. There wasn't really much interesting in it. Yeah. But any sequels, prequels, or like any playing in the world that comics can do can be pretty interesting stuff. So for sure.
For sure.
For sure. But I find it crazy that there's been so many terrible sequels of all 3 franchises: Terminator,
crazy, right?
Predator, and Aliens. Well, Aliens,
I think it's the most interesting.
Aliens has the better movies.
Yeah.
But like I actually love the one after 3. I forgot what it's called, but it's like
Salvation. You're talking about Terminator?
No, Aliens. Actually.
Resurrection.
Yeah,
Resurrection. I think Resurrection is
blast, man.
But anyway, like there's so much source material of really badass stuff that they could just like play around with, but instead they're just like, no, we're gonna do something stupid. Well, anyway, I guess let's go ahead and move on to the next segment with the prompt that I gave y'all, which is if you can make your own Predator movie sequel, since we're already on that subject, what would your Predator movie be like? Or if you could do like instead of like Alien versus Predator, what other like mashup or whatnot crossover would you do predator versus what or anything?
Well, I know me personally, I would involve samurais because I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Go ahead and talk about that.
Well, of course, in the era of when samurais were really prominent in their culture, right? I would have some kind of predator fall into that space. I don't know. Maybe it would kind of be like similar to Seven Samurai in a way as well, but just with predators. I think that would be an amazing
predators. That's
yes,
awesome.
I think that would be a pretty amazing concept. I think this franchise could go to because
that would be pretty unique, like out of the box.
Mhm.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, that's
like
pretty
how would a samurai defeat a predator?
Mhm.
You know, that's what I think too. Like because you know they're pretty much into fate as well, right? The
Well, yeah, that's
samurai.
the thing too. To be fair, with Prey, they did show us a more primitive predator. So at
Yes.
that time,
Yeah.
its man, it would also be maybe a little more primitive. It wouldn't be as advanced. So you can have more of a balance there with that.
Right, exactly. And yeah, that could work as well. But I think that setting in a samurai, you know, not maybe in the beginning of that culture, but when they were rising up, that could probably be an interesting take on Predator that can probably flip the script on a lot of stuff that this franchise has already done before.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually, since you said that, I like the idea of like the primitive like Prey, but also that's a really nice spin of samurais, and then you have the whole culture there too. So that would be really interesting. Actually, I have a question for you. Would it be in English or Japanese?
I would, of course, want it to be in Japanese. Just because
Yeah, good answer. That's what I was laughing
like,
about.
I think if you change it to English, you're kind of dumbing it down for everybody else that doesn't want to read subtitles, and it's be like, well, they wouldn't even speak English in this time era, right? So that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Just keep it in Japan.
Didn't they do a Comanche?
They did do a Comanche dub on Prey as well. Yeah.
On the dub on Prey. So yeah, there is.
Yeah, but it was dubbed. Like
it was dubbed. Not the original.
I tried. I couldn't get through it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't personally because the dub was just bad.
Yeah,
I thought the dub was kind of bad.
I could.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a good idea. So we have seen that, and I like that idea too. My thing, and apologies to anybody who also thought of this, but I'm definitely taking dibs here. We need one thing every franchise does when they run out of ideas, they got to go to the future and space. So, yeah, exactly. Have Predator X, and so it's like, or what's it called, Hellraiser or a Leprechaun.
Hellraiser Bloodline.
Yeah. So basically my idea is like that would be pretty cool if like, because we see a Predator go to just people on Earth or similar with Predators. How about like far in the future with advanced humans, like Space Marines kind of thing? And
like Space Knights.
I don't know. That one went over my head. Anyway, so like, say you have like one like really advanced Space Marine gets stranded somewhere in like some sort of like space jungle of some sort.
Jungle.
Some planet of and he's with a predator who's also very advanced. So you have like, instead of like going backwards like Prey did, you have a more advanced predator and a more advanced human. So I mean, you could come up with some really cool stuff with that.
Your imagination is kind of the limit on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool shit. Yeah.
Or we could just go back to like LA or whatever that the Predator did.
Yeah.
We go to Whataburger. We go to Texas, bitch.
Yeah.
I got one.
Yeah, I would love to see, as a Texan myself, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Seth, were you just saying that you had something?
Yeah, I got one for you.
All right,
I
what
got,
you
I got
got?
two actually. I got two. One's funny.
Okay, cool,
one's
cool,
serious.
yeah.
I'll give you my
Okay.
I'll give you my
I
serious.
always welcome a jokey pick.
My serious one, I would say I want to see one of the Predators strip all his armor off, and he takes everything off, and he himself puts himself in slavery with humans to fight in the gladiator match.
I knew it. I was about to say it, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
And he goes as to test his mettle and is gladiator fighting with primitive weapons, all the other gladiators, beast, and all that shit.
Yeah.
And you see him fighting all that, and you see the Romans just trying to throw anything they can at this guy. And he's actually taking.
You see Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, it is. It's literally almost that movie, right? It's literally almost Gladiator, but it's with the Predator.
With the Predator,
it's just with the Predator.
Right, yeah.
Just
Like,
do
even
a
if
shot
people
for
start
shot.
getting taken with the Predator, they find him ugly at first, and they're like, "Oh,
what the fuck is this?"
Everybody
We
finds
even find a
somebody.
way to CGI Mel Gibson into it.
Yeah, and his monster's like killing everything.
Yeah.
And like people are like, you know what? Fuck yeah! And then you see them change to like
Start to come around. Yeah.
yeah. That
Love that.
Then
pretty
my
cool.
my other one is that the Predator finds himself on Earth at this period and decides to go up against the Ultimate Family.
Ooh, okay.
It's Too Fast and Too Furious.
Oh,
Who needs weapons when you got family?
Same at his match.
With his car
Yes.
going full blast into a Predator, and then comes out with a wrench, and they just start fighting.
Dude,
And
you
then
know they're gonna steal your idea. This
And
will
then-
happen.
Yeah,
And then
Universal.
Dom-
If they see this, no,
Dom-
no,
Vin
like
Diesel is gonna hear this and be like, "Wait a minute."
Dom
If-
puts rockets on a muscle car and rams a Predator into outer space and fights him in front of the sun. I mean,
Ooh, it's beautiful, man.
that's like
Beautiful.
It's
that's
sad.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
you know, like I'm laughing, but I'm also crying because that will happen. Like that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
they will do.
I'll see it. I'll see it in theater.
Yeah,
I'll go
That's
see
important.
it.
like
That's
I mean,
important.
I bet that like they have a guy who searches YouTubes for shows like this, and he's like, "Oh, this is cold. I'm gonna write this down."
Ludacris ties up 3 aliens and rides them like a chariot, fighting predators and world. Like this is the movie that we'll get.
Hold on, wait, I got it too. And Tyrese
Absolutely.
Gibson is like,
Yeah.
"Do y'all smell the barbecue cooking?"
So, no, Tyrese Gibson is trying to hit on one of the predators. Like, damn, you want to see girl? Like a female predator, and Tyrese is like, "Is it weird? I kind of want to fuck her." And like, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
weird.
damn, I know
It's
she's an
weird.
alien.
It's weird.
Mm,
Yeah, I love it. I'll go see it right now.
There you go, man.
Oh,
There's my
40X,
two.
baby.
There's my two.
Steve, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got 2 ideas. Okay, not that funny
Oh,
at all.
you got two. The only signing one up.
That's gonna make it's cracking
Yeah,
me up.
I kind of wish you went last on that one.
Yeah, that was great. Okay, mine would be.
If
I
you
kinda
take my
think-
samurai idea, I swear to God.
Yeah, no, it's kind of building off something like that because we talked about how Predator 2 comes out of the gate and does we're going to do this in the concrete jungle in the city as opposed to the jungle. Well, like you said, feudal Japan. You could also do something like say during the golden age of the pirates, and like I'm talking not like Captain Phillips pirates, like Blackbeard pirates.
I am the
And-
captain now.
Yeah.
You could do it to where so think about that, but I'm talking more like think about something like, did you see The Terror? It's like kind of Lovecraftian where it's like you're
I've
with
seen a
this
couple
crew,
episodes, yeah.
right? And they go through all this like environmental shit to where there's like all this that you forget if it's a fucking predator's coming for like 45 minutes. And it's one of those where you get stuck in like kind of like The Descent, where it's like the real shit can get you bogged down with just trying to stay alive, and then
That's like the first movie.
Yeah, like kind of like taking it back to that. That's the kind of
Taking it back to
serious
basics,
idea.
all right?
You're making me want to see Predator versus Jack Sparrow. Please continue.
Now that would be good. Now my versus idea.
Wait.
And you know they'll do that too.
Oh, Johnny would do that
especially
right
since
now.
both are owned by
Wait.
Disney.
Yeah, both
The Predator is going to be Amber Heard.
Yes, I was gonna say that. You're right. The Predator's Amber Heard. You're
Oh,
yeah,
my
you're
God.
correct. Yeah, that's it. The Predator's Amber Heard and it's Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
Okay, now
shit.
I want to see
We've
like a
already
whole
seen
court.
that, buddy. It's been on TV.
Yeah, no. Steve, I'll go back to you. I'll let you finish.
Oh no, go
But
ahead. Go.
an entire like Law and Order kind of thing, a courtroom thing. But it's Johnny
Oh,
Depp
dude, that would
and
be
the Predator.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know,
All
there's a Tubi movie of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing coming out in like a week.
Oh,
Oh
really?
yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I was
Tubi,
like,
we-
Dude,
Yeah.
that was like the OJ trials. But
it really fucking was. I mean,
Yeah.
it was wild how big that got.
And like, if
Yeah,
you
it
didn't watch it
was.
live, you would not care if you missed it at all.
See, you said pirates and you fucked it up because now we're all over the place.
I
because
know,
The idea
I
was
did,
fantastic.
yeah.
Pirates is awesome. You
Okay,
can't
my
go
other
wrong with
one
Pirates.
is a versus, and it is
Okay,
taking
cool.
some more big IP till we got. Okay, Island. Just okay. So what if a fucking predator lands on Island Nubar, right? And all the dinosaurs are still fucking there, right? And it becomes just like the predator versus like the Dilophosaurus with this big fucking and then some raptors take him on, and you got the T-Rex big fight at the end. You could do Jurassic Predator.
Wasn't there a dinosaur skull in Predator 2?
Was there?
Probably.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
That would be
I
shit.
thought there was a
Huh.
giant skull that
Yeah.
looked kind of similar to maybe like a T-Rex or something like that in
Yeah.
there.
Or like
So-
find a woolly mammoth or something like that. I know there's no woolly mammoths in Jurassic Park, so or you could go back to the
No,
Jurassic Age.
or even better, it's Predator versus Beast Wars, where it's Optimus Prime as the gorilla, and you
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
you're
Yes.
fighting Autobots,
Yes.
the animal Autobots, and it's
Perfect.
back in prehistoric times. with
And it
Oh,
stars
okay.
The Rock.
Sold.
You get both. You get both. You get advanced technology in prehistoric times. You get these animals that are actually robots.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
We can,
understands what we all want. Yeah.
yeah. That's it. That's it.
Universal, here's your shot.
Yeah.
Nice.
They just need to get me in a room and I'll just hype up any
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
It's just
straight
this
up. Like
room.
you just like off the cuff, just bullshitting ideas that like are $1 million ideas.
Yeah. Just like boom.
There you go, man.
That's how we go.
I have one more idea actually, which is since Predator is owned by Disney,
Yes.
and since they go to other planets,
And it's
you
now
know,
a
they,
Disney princess now too.
yeah, right. They go to other planets presumably and just do their thing throughout. So, and who knows how long they've been around? Maybe, or how far they go. They could be on another galaxy at another time. Could be a long time ago. So,
Oh shit.
so definitely, I'm definitely getting to Predator versus like Boba Fett or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty tight.
But
Or,
would it be as cool as Predator versus Carl and Steve Urkel from Family Matters?
No.
Not at all. No.
Oh,
Because
just
there would
wanna
not be a
slap
laugh
Steve.
track.
That would be the number one.
That would make a great episode for sure.
Oh yeah.
Or just like
Yeah.
or just another random just Predator movie, just a regular Predator movie that's serious or hokey, just however that they do their thing. And this guy's own story, and we have a different protagonist. But at some point in like the 45-minute mark, he goes to a house and like crashes into a house, and then Urkel's like, "Did I do that?"
Yeah, and then it's Carl.
And then he just takes off, or whatever.
He's right,
Just-
yeah. He's just
On a
gone.
serious note, the Star Wars thing would be really cool, and especially
Yeah.
since I think Marvel owns the Predator.
Yeah,
rights. Or-
exactly.
Yeah,
well,
they do
Disney
that,
does now. Disney
Yeah.
owns it all. So
Yeah, Disney does.
And
so,
Disney now.
Bounty
Sick.
hunter versus bounty hunter there.
yeah, you
Yeah,
could do
exactly.
that. That would be
Yeah, that's
pretty
what I'm
cool.
talking about. Like,
Yeah.
It could be like have any of you seen the movie For a Few Dollars More?
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is-
Yeah.
Okay.
Clint
So-
Eastwood, yeah.
Seth, this is the sequel to Fistful of Dollars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about on our old podcast, Movie So Bad They're Good. We did a ripoff. We reviewed a ripoff movie of Fistful of Dollars,
I
Last
remember.
Man Standing, which is
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, basically
Yeah,
the
yeah.
exact same story,
Yeah.
but with just like unlimited guns. It was very hokey like this movie.
I
No,
remember
that's one of the
Uh,
few Bruce Willis's movies I have still never seen.
Oh, I've seen Last Man Standing. It's a good
you
time.
should-
I actually had fun. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. If you didn't like Predator 2, you'll probably. hate that
Oh,
movie
yeah,
too.
it's pretty pulpy, man.
But
Yeah,
it's Bruce Willis in his prime. I may enjoy it.
it's like
It-
96 or 90.
It's
It came out
so
when I was-
fun because like at all times he has two guns and he just unloads clips on every single person and they
Yeah.
go flying back and then he takes the clip out when he runs out, puts it right back in, and he suddenly has ammo again. And he has like each clip has like 500 bullets on it.
Yeah.
But
Christopher
anyway,
Walken's in that too. He's like the bad guy in that. Isn't he?
yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
Walken in
he's
that?
one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
But I digress. So that movie is a ripoff of Fistful of Dollars, which has a sequel called For a Few Dollars More, which has two bounty hunters kind of going.
Okay.
They're like competing against each other for the same bounty. That would be kind of cool with like you've got Boba Fett, who's like suddenly he has competition, which is this Predator. That would be kind of
Which
cool.
would be the Predator. Yeah.
So now it's like Boba Fett versus whatever bounty versus Predator.
Wait. I got one. I got another
I'm
idea.
down for that.
All right. What's up?
Predator versus Dateline.
That happens regularly with Chris Hansen.
Predator versus.
Right.
Oh, I get it now. I get it. Damn.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Predator versus.
Like
the
it's
guy
literally in the
that
name to catch a predator.
Yeah. Yeah. Your catchphrase or your line for the poster is "Let's have a seat. Why don't you take a seat?" Why don't you take a seat?
No,
All
that
I'm
would be
wondering when
funny
the
if
cat
like
Mm.
it's just one of his episodes, just a predator comes in.
Just
And
yeah,
like,
like a
it's
ball.
like have a seat, and he sits down. It's like, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here, buddy?
All right. Well, yeah. I guess. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to bring up before we rate this?
I just want to make sure that no.
All right. Cool. All right,
I confirmed my
well,
note. No.
I think we've done all the crossovers
Well-
we can do with Predator.
That's it. That's
we could do so many more. We could
Pretty
do
sure we
another
could,
30
but then
minutes.
there's a whole podcast that you can do of just
Oh
Predator.
yeah, for
just
sure.
listing
Right.
crossovers. Not even getting into them. Just constantly listing. That's all.
Actually, yeah. That actually would be a great podcast.
Yeah, I would
Every
listen to
episode,
every
just
second
an
of that
hour
podcast.
of just
Yeah, just
like,
an hour of
coming up
pitching
with new
one
ideas.
movie of Predator. Yeah. Like Predator versus the Little Giants.
Predator
and then we
versus
talk
Santa
about the football team of the children from Little Giants and versus Predator.
Predator versus the toy soldier.
We just keep
It's
going.
like the stupider you make the idea,
Yeah,
the better
just
it
I
gets.
love it. Yeah.
Predator versus the
Predator
Little Rascals.
versus Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
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 Predator versus the Three Stooges.
Oh,
Predator Civil War.
Predator Civil War.
Not MCU Civil War. Like the
Like
Civil War.
the Civil War.
He just kills all the Confederates. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's why the Union won, because he killed
yeah.
all.
Yeah, because the
Just
Predator
roll
came
them into town.
Anyway, so we're gonna rate this now. So now we do two ratings. We used to do just one rating, which is just how you enjoy the film. Now we're going back to Movies So Bad They're Good era, where we used to do two ratings. So Seth, you're used to that. The first rating is off production value. So most of the movies we cover on here are really terrible, but very bad production, shoestring budgets. Is usually pretty low, but the enjoyment is pretty high. But this one's different because this is actually a big blockbuster. So there's lots of explosions. There's pretty good cinematography, I'd say. So I would definitely give it pretty high. So 8 Jamaican skulls off of King or all
Dude,
8 Keely Willies
literally-
that apparently
I
exist.
literally was going to say the same number and the same reference. Like
Nice.
that was exactly in my head. The same number 8 and the same thing about rolling the bones.
Oh
Like,
yeah, Bones. Yeah, that would, man, that's so much better.
mhm.
So you got 8. Okay, so
Yeah.
you thought it was pretty high.
I just had to say it because you said the exact same number and everything I was about to say.
That's awesome.
It's just funny.
Honestly, I forgot what I was going to do, so I just came up with the first thing that came to my head.
Well, it's good though. It works.
Yeah, it works. What do you give it for enjoyment?
Oh, me enjoyment.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'll give it I think I'm still at the same, so I'll give it 8 bodies hanging without their skin. Yeah, I'll do 8.
Steve, how about you?
Well, like you said, bouncing off you, production wise, this is studio film. I was born in '85. I'm a child of this era of action movies. You know, I'm a bigger horror fan than anything now. But as a little kid, around the age that this would have been on HBO when I first had it, you know, these movies were just like assaults on the senses. And you had a lot of bang for your buck in this. And so for a popcorn movie with the production value, I think they kind of go hand in hand. So for both across the board, I'm going to go a 9, and I'm going to say 9 lines of Scorpio's glow. That's what
There you go.
we're going to do that. That's
Yeah.
shut up, AJ. You just
This
looked
is some
away.
big, that's overdose.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you're gonna
Are you doing the cardiac
That
arrest
would be.
thing?
Wait, what did you say?
me.
No, AJ.
I said, are you going to go to cardiac arrest here in a second?
Yes.
He'll still be high in the afterlife.
That's right. Yeah. Scorpio.
Oh man.
So that's for both because I think it goes hand in hand. I think, like, you know, you get a little bit more with that production value.
Yeah.
B movie with a little bit of money goes a long way when it's done right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So 9 all the way across.
Yeah.
Whatever I said.
And AJ.
All right. So for the production value rating, I'm going to give it about a 7 human body remains hanging out of 10. And for the enjoyment, probably about a 5 out of 10.
That's higher than I expected it to be.
Okay.
No, now let me ask you. Before we did this episode and we talked about it, would your rating have been lower?
Yeah, it probably would have been out of 3. Probably.
Ah, nice. So we just need to keep talking about this until you get that rating.
Right, then it's going to be like a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah. It'll take a little while, but
We'll get you there.
and then I never got to my enjoyment, which is I love it. Not as much as the other movies I cover on here. Like it is, I mean, it's absolutely fun, and we did mention that like, there's a point, I guess, around the near end of the second act where it just kind of drags on. So I'll give it probably 7.5 trophies inside the Predator's spaceship.
Oh yeah.
And,
Fair enough.
yeah, well, one of them it just like broke as he was shoving it into that like holder thing. So it was only half. So anyway, that'll do for this episode of Culture Trash Horror Movie Grind. Thanks guys for joining. AJ, thanks for putting up with us.
Thank you for putting up with me for me being the only one who didn't like it.
Yeah. What do y'all have to? What's going on next in Reviews from Hell? Like what's coming up?
We got a Pearl episode coming up, and we're going to do both Pearl and we've held Barbarian, so we could do them both together. And actually, one other quick thing on the Infamous Horrors website, just some quick about as spoiler free as I could be, which is almost I didn't spoil anything that matters, and to try to give it a review, it was tough. But you know, to not spoil that movie and talk about it at all, you know, I tried my best, so it's up there on the website.
Okay. Sweet. So yeah, that's on the same YouTube channel for anybody who doesn't know. It's Reviews from Hell.
And I
hey,
also have infamous interviews on the same
yeah,
channel.
do you have any cool interviews coming up?
I do for Terrifier 2 coming up. I have both David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, and I have Damien Leone, the director of Terrifier 1 and 2, coming on infamous interviews. So that's going to be really
Sweet.
fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I look forward to that. Seth, what do you got going on?
Same old. Who's Next podcast? Game episodes are one. Movies and comics are another. I have different co-hosts on each one. So, in fact, tomorrow I'm recording a movies and comics with some guys coming over. I do try to do the movies and comics. I have the guys come over the house, so it's kind of a live. We're all in the room. So I do try to recreate that the best I can. I know a lot of podcasts have gone to like this, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I do find something from having everybody in the room. I don't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's you can see everything in real time. There's sometimes when there's like I had a few internet hiccups with Ian in this podcast, nothing too severe, but a few, but like with in there in person. And then I've got little drops and stuff I do too. So yeah, I brought that back a little bit.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that was always fun.
Yeah, so I did bring that back a little bit. And Losing Lives is back in the game episodes. For those who are not familiar, Losing Lives is we review movies based off video games.
Oh, cool.
So we've gone through the gambit. It's called Losing Lives, of course, because typically these movies are terrible. And so
usually. That's actually nice. I mean, I've definitely mentioned that before on several episodes, but that is where this show came from. Well, started out in Losing Lives and then turned into Maybe So Bad They're Good and then turned into Cold and Trash.
Yep. So now it's more like a segment at the end of my game episode.
Like its own
multiverse. Not, basically, yeah, there is. Yeah, it starts with me at the center. But I mean, yes, I've been doing this since 2017. So I've been doing it for a few years now. I did help Ian get his start in doing it. We did a podcast together in the beginning, and it got a bit much with everything I was doing. I was doing Who's Next. I was doing Losing Lives as a separate podcast. I was trying to do Gamer Needs Food Badly as a YouTube cooking show where we cook food themed from video games.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's still some stuff up there, but ever since COVID, we had stopped doing that and just never brought it back. But that's why I've kind of backed out. And like Ian looked like he's really done great. Like this podcast setup you got, network that you're working with, and all that seems really cool. So for sure, man. Like, I've
definitely gotten along.
Yeah, so it's really good. So I spitball. I like to have fun. Like, and I will say that my reviews aren't exactly reviews. I don't always pick things apart. It's more casual conversations about shit, and
I think that's how me and Steve are with reviews from hell. We don't try to bash anything, but like we try to like highlight stuff as well more than straight up.
Yeah, I mean, when you're covering
there's a lot of podcasts out there.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah. When you're covering things like Uwe Boll movies, it's kind of hard to just be like
super positive on it all the time.
They did their best.
Right.
Best.
So, but look, Uwe Boll's got some. He's got some stuff in there. It's not the worst. I didn't hate Postal.
Sure.
I did not hate Postal.
I don't think I've seen any Boll movies. I gotta be honest.
I liked.
I think In the Name of the King was like the last one I've seen of Boll.
Rampage was pretty cool.
Yeah, but that wasn't based off a video game. But I heard it was actually a decent. Yeah. Postal was actually based off a video game, and it actually is. It actually is kind of a smart comedy to some extent. It does wear out its welcome, but there's actually some jokes in there that are like, like they actually are smarter than what I expected, because from the stuff like when you see something like House of the Dead,
how
that movie is, Postal surprised me. I did not hate that. It's a straight up comedy, and he doesn't have exactly the worst, but a lot of his stuff is pretty rough. What's amazing is the talent that he gets in his movies, though. That's what
the strangest things, right?
He does. He gets like some like out
Like
there.
Jason Statham, Ray Liotta. I mean,
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
names. Yeah.
he's got
I
them.
remember.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons. He was,
Wasn't Ben Kingsley in one of his films?
yeah, he was in the
right? Didn't he
Blood
use
Rain.
Leslie
Yeah,
Bibb
yeah.
in one too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got some people in there that it's kind of like, man, how did they? How did,
Does he
sometimes you find
blackmail
out.
them? I mean, what does he do?
Well, sometimes you find out in the IMDb facts. Like there was one with Postal where a lot of the agents of these actors were like, "You shouldn't do this," and they're like, "We'll do it." All right.
Okay, cool.
Like
Well,
that rebellious kid, like whatever, mom.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. But yeah, I'm wearing actually the shirt. Who's next? We did change some of the artwork, but yeah, you can find me over there. Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
Also, a friend of the podcast, Johnny, he was supposed to be on this episode. He wasn't able to make it. Work got caught up with him, but if you listen to his podcast, I Don't Give a Flick, which is about basically all different sorts of categories on film.
Mhm.
We recently did an episode. It hasn't come out yet since we're recording this, but by the time this comes out, it might be out. But so yeah, check out I Don't Give a Flick. But we went through Predator franchise, Alien franchise, and Terminator franchise, and we compared them all. We had a great conversation about that. That was a lot of fun.
How did you keep that under 4 hours?
Right? Yeah, it was definitely like 2.5.
Oh yeah, easy.
And it came down to us just like, can Superman beat these guys? And it's just like all sorts of crazy conversation, like pretty much which is the strongest franchise and all sorts of different categories. But yeah, check that out.
Awesome.
And so now next week, AJ and Steve, you guys are joining me on for a really fun episode, which is a new one, which I don't normally do new movies, but this one has an immediate cult following, which is basically it's got actors from some So Bad It's Good movies. Seth, are you familiar with this movie at all? It's called Cyst.
No.
Yeah, I doubt it. It like went way under the radar, but it has Greg Sestero from The Room. It has.
Well, Ian Steve just texted me that his laptop.
Yeah, I got the message. His laptop died.
Yeah, he just dropped out. Like, yeah, so it's got Greg Sestero from The Room. It has Darren Ewing from Troll 2. He's the oh my god guy. He's the oh my god, and then you have the dad from Troll 2, which is George Hardy, and it's basically him as like a mad scientist, basically.
And he is fantastic.
Yeah, you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it again recently. Yeah.
All right, my laptop.
Yeah, you were like, hell yeah, and then you dropped out.
Perfect. Classic.
But yeah, and so anyway, that's what that movie is about. Is basically like
long story short, yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors, but with assist, kind of
with
the mad scientist.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
And
totally.
Darren and Greg will be joining on the podcast, so look forward to that.
And I've been trying to interview Greg forever.
He's a little hard to get a hold of. He's like, but we'll see when he gets on there. We can ask him. But anyway, that'll be it for this episode. Yeah, check these guys out. Check out next week's Cyst. So yeah, we got Who's Next podcast and Reviews from Hell, and also what is it? Interviews from Hell? What was it called?
Infamous Interviews.
Infamous, of course. Infamous Interviews. All right. Well, appreciate everybody for showing up and sticking through this. And
thanks for having us.
Yeah, catch you next week. And so, really I'll plant you all now and dig you later.
See ya.
All right.
See ya.
Peace.